All right, let's get into it. Today, we're looking at a company called 905 Wood, and they are doing something pretty wild in the world of construction waste. They haven't just built a bigger truck or a better sorting facility. Nope. They've built a completely new digital platform, and it's designed to work in the absolute worst conditions you can imagine, turning what is usually a huge financial liability into a genuine, verifiable asset.
And this quote right here, this just says it all, doesn't it? We have to get this picture in our heads. We are not designing an app for someone sitting in a comfy office sipping a coffee. The user here is literally standing in freezing mud trying to tap a screen with thick, heavy gloves on. This isn't about a delightful user experience. This is about a survivable one.
So the construction industry is facing what you could call a perfect storm. You've got costs going through the roof, a bunch of new, complex regulations, and workflows that are, well, they're ancient. The old way of just loading up trash and hauling it to a landfill, it's just not going to cut it anymore. It's becoming completely unsustainable.
And when you start to look at these pressures, you see how they all stack on top of each other. Landfill fees are exploding. There are brand new environmental taxes. And the compliance paperwork is a nightmare. On top of all that, the companies that could actually reuse this wood waste, they need it to be almost perfectly clean. You mix all that together, and what you get is a massive, ticking time bomb of liability for any business that still thinks of this stuff as just trash.
Okay, so how on earth do you solve a problem that is that messy? Well, 905 Wood's answer isn't just another app you download. It's a really sophisticated piece of middleware that they call the Digital Refinery, and its entire job is to step into that chaos and create order.
So here's the key idea. The platform is basically a translation layer. Think about how a traditional oil refinery takes messy, raw crude oil and turns it into valuable, specific products like gasoline. The Digital Refinery does the exact same thing, but for waste. It takes chaotic, dirty construction wood and transforms it into a precise, high-quality, and completely verifiable resource for the new bioeconomy.
And here's where the genius is for the actual user out in the field. The workflow is dead simple. It's really just 3 steps. First, the AI on the device itself scans the wood and gives it a score, right there, right then, locking in the GPS. Second, it instantly crunches the numbers on how much money you're saving on levies and what it might be worth as a carbon asset. And third, you just hold down a button to seal the deal, creating a bulletproof digital record. It's scan, calculate, and seal. Done.
Now, this next part is where things get really interesting, and honestly, a little counterintuitive. Most apps try to be as smooth and easy as possible. This one, it's designed to do the opposite. It's built to be clear and safe, even if that means adding what they call intentional friction right into the process.
You really have to completely flip the script on normal UX design. For your typical app, you want it to be delightful, frictionless, almost invisible. But out here, in the real world of a construction site, you need something totally different. Can you even read it in the blinding sun? Can you use it with heavy gloves? Is it deliberate? Does it stop you from making a huge mistake? You don't want the app to get out of the way. You need it to get in your face and prevent an error that could cost thousands.
So let's walk through an example of how this actually works. The Gemini AI on the device is incredibly fast. It takes a look at a pile of wood, and in less than 2 seconds it says, "Hey, this looks great, 99% clean." The screen glows green. The driver thinks, "Awesome, we're good to go." But at the exact same moment, the driver is recording a voice note for his log, which is standard practice, and he says something totally innocent. Something like, "Yeah, just wrapping up the demolition on the old deck here. Seems fine, right?" But the AI is always listening, and it hears a word that creates a huge conflict.
And bam! This is what they call the shatter effect. The system immediately recognizes a conflict. The visual AI sees clean wood, but the audio context says deck, and decks often have chemical treatments that are a huge contaminant, so the app reacts violently. It shatters that green screen with a jarring animation and a loud noise. It's a high-risk override that forces the user to stop, wake up, and deal with the potential problem right now.
So, you can see this isn't just about clever design features. The whole system is an engine, and it's built to give its users a massive financial advantage. So, let's talk about the money. Let's see how this thing actually turns the headache of compliance into cold, hard cash.
Okay, so the old way of billing for this stuff was dangerously simple. You just got a single flat rate price. That's it. But that was a total black box. It hid all the real environmental costs, and frankly, it encouraged people to just keep doing things the wrong way. 905 Wood's model, what they call decoupled billing, smashes that open. It separates the fee for the trucking from the environmental taxes, making everything transparent. And what that does is it directly rewards good behavior.
But here's the challenge. This is the big hurdle. When you first look at the decoupled bill, it seems way more expensive. A competitor might quote you a flat $460. The 905 wood bill might show up as $630. And if you're a contractor working on razor-thin margins, that's a really tough pill to swallow.
But, and this is the crucial reframe, that higher price is what you would pay if your wood is dirty. By using the app to prove your wood is clean, you completely avoid paying things like the new $60 per ton CIRC levy. That's the Circular Innovation and Recycling Capital Levy. The system doesn't just quietly save you the money, it explicitly shows you the money you didn't have to pay.
So in the end, 905 wood completely changes what an invoice even is. It stops being a dreaded bill. Instead, it becomes proof of your savings. It's your zero levy report card. It shows you, the customer, exactly how much money you just saved by being smart and dodging the tax. And that turns what's normally a grudge purchase into a strategic win.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second, because this system is about so much more than just one truckload of wood. We need to look at how this plugs into the future of the entire industry.
And this is the beautiful end result. Every single load that goes through this system generates a completely bulletproof, audit-ready digital passport. You've got the GPS data, the official weight from the scale, a high-res photo, the exact version of the AI model that was used, that driver's voice note, everything. It's all linked to an official certificate that proves compliance with absolute certainty. You can't argue with it.
And by doing this, by creating these verifiable digital assets out of something that used to just be trash, the platform plugs directly into these massive new economic movements. We're talking about things like extended producer responsibility, or EPR, and the carbon credit markets that are just exploding right now.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. This whole system isn't really about hauling wood around more efficiently. It's about building the fundamental data layer for a real, functioning circular economy. So, if waste is no longer a costly problem, if it becomes a trusted data-rich asset, what kind of new economies, what new industries can we build on top of that?